So this is a video that walks you through a lot of new data analysis tools in an assignment that's like explosions near cities. So the first thing we're going to do is there's a really powerful explosion that happened on August 4th, 2020, and it was in the port of Beirut, Lebanon, and it was just an accident. And we'll look at it in class, but you can look at the news reports of it where it was combustible material that just exploded. And so it was very dramatic. But I walk you through in the assignment. So open up your Explosions Near Cities assignment, and I want you to walk through getting the explosion data from the NEIC. You're used to getting earthquake data, but you can get explosion data. And here in the video is the settings for that. They're also in the assignment right here. You'll do a custom around that port in Beirut. There we go. Looks like that. You'll just zoom into Beirut, Lebanon, and that will cover, it was right in this area here. So we're going to use this region right there. You're going to come down. Instead of grabbing earthquakes, you're actually going to grab explosion, and you're going to download a CSV file. So once you do that, left click on search, make sure you have all the settings correct. Then what we can do is move to, once you have it in your downloads folder, rename it by doing a right click or two fingers, one up, one down on your trackpad, and you can rename the title here. I have it as Beirut CSV. So once you have that, it's only one data point, so it's really easy. And we'll just grab it, and I'm just going to drag it right onto my map in ArcGIS. All right, so once we have all of that, we now have this data, and we don't want it to be mag error where it opens us right up into here. And we want to just look at show location only here. So we just want the location. We don't need the magnitude or anything. We just need the location of this explosion. All right, so we can save this. Let's go ahead and change this symbol to a green star. Nice and big, 50 points. So we'll be able to see it. It's just 1 point. And I say okay. All right, so there's my star. I say okay, and done. And I'm just gonna let my map load. I'm gonna just zoom out a little bit here so you can see the location of this explosion in that port of Beirut. All right, so we do have some new skills here. So if you're looking through, I'm in number 19 of the assignment. And according to the damage reports, there were specific zones of damage from the blast. Within 0.5 kilometers, the buildings were actually leveled, as you could see from the news report above. And then 4.8 kilometers severe damage, out to 24.1 kilometers, windows were destroyed, out to 60 kilometers, the explosion was heard, and out to 240 kilometers, the shock wave was felt. So what we need to do is we're going to create a multiple ring buffer around the explosion site that represents those 5 damage zones. So this is a new skill. So we have this Beirut explosion location here, the green dot. We can go into analysis. Here's a new analysis for you to use, and it is called Create Buffers. So we go again into Features, use Proximity, Create Buffers. All right, so we want to do a buffer around that star, and we are going to, there's a very specific way you need to do this. When you're adding buffers, you can add more than one at a time, but you have to do it in this very specific way. So our buffers from our assignment are 0.5, and I want to do all of them at one time. I'm going to do just a space, no comma, no nothing else. The next one is 4.8, then a space, 24.1, then a space, 60, these are all kilometers, and then 240. All right, and so I want to change from miles to kilometers because that's what my data is telling me to do. All right, we can leave our options alone, it's perfect. Resulting layer name, so buffer of Beirut works just fine. I'm gonna go ahead and put my initials and your period, whatever period it is that you're in, and save result there. Perfect, all right, so I am going to check my credits. How many credits does it use to do those buffers? Oh, 0.001. Buffers are very inexpensive, so we are all set. I'm going to uncheck my current map extent because just in case those buffers go outside of where I'm zoomed into here. Remember, if you check current map extent, it's only going to do analysis within the confines of the map that you have showing right here. So I want to be careful about that. I'm going to run the analysis. So my buffer layer is now in. I'm going to zoom out so I can see all the buffers, but you can see that there are those different buffers, a 0.5 kilometer, 4.8 kilometers, so on and so forth. And I just get these nice circles, concentric circles around some point. And that, in this case, is my explosion point. So what I want to do is number 25. I want to change the color. So I want it to be red, just like it shows in the assignment. So let's come here. Now, how would I do that? I want to come in here and I want to go into my options, and I want unique symbols because I want to change all these myself individually, and I want to do different levels of red. So the darkest red I'm going to do down here. Okay. I want to do the next one. I'm just going to walk myself up these reds as we go further and further away from the center. Because red makes sense. Red is damaging, it's dangerous. There, and I want that one to be less. So we're just walking out different reds. And I might just kind of making them a little bit spread out a little bit more. And then this last one, let's do the lightest color. So you decide how you want it to look. Yeah, I like the way that looks. Okay, so there's my buffers. Most dangerous, most damaged close in, less and less where you could just hear feel the shock wave out here all the way to Cyprus. All right, now not only that, but I can change my text. So this one is 0.5. I'm going to change it to 0.5 kilometers, and I want to note that the buildings were leveled in that layer. And then I come down here, 4.8 kilometers. Oh, I forgot my kilometers. Kilometers, severe damage. 24.1 kilometers. Windows destroyed, and 60 kilometers, and so on and so forth. All right, so now I've relabeled all of my buffers. I can always change the transparency, kind of like where it is now at 50%, but you can adjust that. All right, and what you're going to do now is say okay. Make sure that you have a legend showing. You do right here, or of course you can always turn your legend on there and make sure that you show a legend and give me a screenshot in number 28 in the assignment. Now what I want you to do is reflect on what you just did and what skills you used. So in number 28, I want you to write in, what did you just do? Just reflect on it for me. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is part 2. So we have our data and we've done our buffers. The question I'm going to propose to you is, what would happen if we had some accidental bomb or accidental explosion like that near us where we live? What would happen? How many people would be affected? How many schools and hospitals and so on and so forth would be affected by that? So that's what we're going to do in part 2. So we stay in this map, that's fine, but we're going to kind of move over to DC. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to search for layers, and we're going to look for an airports layer. So I went ahead, just like it says in the assignment, and I typed in Northern Virginia airports. I'm in ArcGIS Online, and I want to come over here to a filter, and I want to switch it to an organization rather. I want to switch it to owner because I want a really specific one. So I switch it to owner, so I sort them by that, and I'm looking for the one by Frank Zia down here, and here it is. This is a good one. So let's add this one, and that's going to bring us on over to our area of the world again, and we've added it now to our map. So you'll notice the 2 airports are displayed. Let's back ourselves out of here and get back to our content, and we'll see we have Northern. We're looking for our airports, so here they are. Here's one over here. This is Dulles Airport, and this one is Reagan National Airport. All right, so we want to do a couple things. We want to, if you sit in an even numbered seat, if you're a 2 or a 4 at your table, I want you to do this assignment using Reagan National. If you're at an odd numbered seat, 1 or 3, I want you to use Dulles as your airport. Okay, so you don't have to do both, just pick one. And you even numbered is Reagan National, odd numbered is Dulles, which is IAD. All right, so now we want a layer that is only the assigned airport. And we can do this by a filter. That's one way to do it. But we could also use an analysis tool. So maybe you have something you're going to need to use an analysis sometime. So let's learn a new skill here. And we're going to go up to analysis, feature analysis. We're going to find locations, and we want to derive new locations. So this is an analytical way to do a filter. And we're going to make a new layer this way. We're going to click on derive new locations. So for 1, we need to add the expression, and I'm going to come in here. I'm going to use my Northern Virginia airports layer, and I want to say where the name of it is, and we'll do unique. We can do Ronald Reagan National Airport. Perfect. That works. So I add that to my expression. Again, I can look at my credits. How much is that going to cost? Almost nothing. 0.002 credits. So I'm going to rename my location DCA, and my initials, period, and both of them are within, so I can leave. Let's see, we'll uncheck my current map extent, but I could leave it checked because their Reagan National is right there. And I'm going to run the analysis. So again, this acts like a filter, but there will be times when you may want to use derive new locations to kind of make a new layer instead of just having a layer that you have to filter. Okay, so we have our we've narrowed in on Reagan National. We can now go ahead, we're in number 35. We can change the symbol. I'm going to go into options. I want to change the symbol to be the symbol for an airport. So we can go in here, can look at government, and I'm sure there's an airport symbol there. And maybe let's make it bigger. Let's call it 25 point. Okay, so now we have a nice size airport symbol there. Done. Okay. I'm going to zoom out so you can kind of get a feel for where that is. All right, right by the Potomac River. All right, so next thing, now I want you to go in and create a buffer around Reagan National Airport. Use the same procedure as the steps in 22 to 28 that we did in Beirut around the explosion, but do it around your airport. Change the miles to kilometers, change the style to the red colors that you used before, And I will pause the video and go ahead and let you do that right now. All right, so I meet you back here. My buffers around my airport are done. Yours may be out here around Dulles if you're in the other seats. This one's around Reagan National. So go ahead and turn on your legend and put that into that screenshot with your login up in the upper right corner. Put that into your number 37 in your assignment. All right, so now we're going to keep going. We have much more analysis to do here. So let's add another layer to our content. We're going to search for layers. We're in ArcGIS Online. We're going to add our USA States layer. And we're looking for USA States Generalized. You can always, when you're looking for an Esri layer, it's really good to just do by view count because the Esri ones are ones that people use all the time. And so if you're looking for like USA States Generalized, here we go, Esri DM. This is the kind of the one I was thinking of. So let's use this one. And notice how I just went over and I looked at view count. Those are going to be really high up, those well-used ones. So I've added my USA States layer now, and I want to go ahead and just go to content. I want to change the style so that I have no fill. I don't want all that orange in the way. So I say no fill, just the outline is fine. Oh, and let's label these states too. So that labels, remember, is in the 3 dots. I can create my labels, and now I've labeled every state. Perfect. Okay, so I've labeled those. So now let's go ahead, and I want to rearrange my layers. So I want my buffer is on the very top above the states. Okay, good. Now list all the states that would be affected by that blast. All right, so it looks like West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, Maryland, DC, and Virginia are the ones I see for Reagan National. You're gonna have different ones for Dulles. All right, now in number 39, I want you to list those states you see. I want you to also reflect briefly on what you just did. Since in part 2, you put buffers in, you've added the airports layer, put buffers around your airport, and you've looked at the spatial distribution using your USA States layer to see which states were affected by the blast.